Hi, I'm Yael Tamar, and we're here on the Block Solid podcast where we interview the tech leaders of tomorrow. We have today with us Yugen Okei, who is an AI expert and the founder of SyncTank, which helps businesses build various AI solutions. Now, Yugen has PhD in linguistics from Stanford, and he is going to talk to us about various aspects of AI as it pertains to productivity, business goals, what you should do, which tools you should be using, which tools you should not be using, how you can handle and navigate AI as an employee, as an employer, and as a human being, or maybe as a robot, if robots are listening. Hi, Yugen, how are you?
Hi, I'm great.
Amazing. So I'm excited to have you here because every week something new is coming up on the AI horizon. So this week I want to talk about the newest shiny AI tools that are out there, and businesses are jumping in various industries to look at customer service solutions, to look at copywriting solutions, video editing solutions, to answer clients, emails, you name it. There's all these new shiny tools. Can you break it once and for all? What, as a business owner, I should be paying attention to? What is a must have and what is a useless kind of time waster?
So, as a business owner, assuming you're not technical, the main thing you should be using is LLMs, obviously. And I am actually a minimalist. So, my my agenda, I don't want to say agenda, my approach is focus on just the core technology, which is the LLM, and everything you add around it, it can very easily take away from the actual solution. And the um, the main the basically the LLM pretty much does everything, and what we're aiming for as businesses is not like um, Jarvis, right? Because AI is not Jarvis. It's not really smart. It's very dumb. It's very good at specific things, but it doesn't have stereographic, uh, multidimensional synthesis of understanding of context and situation. So we don't want to trust it. Actually, we don't want it to make decisions.
You don't want to treat it as a human.
No, don't treat it. No, that's the trap. The trap is the all those companies that are trying to tell you that they're building AI agents that are going to be your workers, and you just delegate them work like you do to a human. That's a trap, because AI doesn't have the ability to synthesize the level of information that you need to actually do one from 0 to 100 one task.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to replace a person with a robot, just use it as an extension tool. So
Wow. You heard that, right? Using AI as a human is a trap and a way for us to lose to our competition, right? Those who know AI, engineers like Yugen, know not to use AI as a human. So, can you illustrate?
well, but I haven't said the flip
Okay.
side. So what? Yes, instead of if not a human, where I think about it more like augmentation.
Mm-hmm.
So like a calculator, right?
Mm-hmm.
You not expect the calculator to do your taxes, but it saves you
Mm.
like 199% of the time that you need
Right.
to do your taxes if you don't have a calculator,
Right.
right? So
Or an Excel.
yeah, Excel is a great example. You don't expect Excel to do your taxes. You don't
No.
ask it task questions,
Yeah.
but you do. But it does most of the work.
Right.
Why? Because the human is like it's the eye of the storm. You know, like the human is the one
Mm-hmm.
who knows the big picture and he knows what needs to happen. But the hands are the the agents, the extensions of
Mm-hmm.
your will, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, are the tools that you
Mm-hmm.
have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your laptop is one such extension. So it's all about delegating um, subtasks to a system that is very good at one specific thing without expecting that system to exceed its boundaries, and without and still maintaining a human that knows the full picture, because AI is just not there and is not going in that direction. Like, it's not even on the nothing that happened ever in history indicates that we are about to have AI that has some sort of, I call it stereographic understanding of the full picture, like understanding all the dimensions.
Yeah.
There is nothing that goes that direction, because if you understand how LLMs work, you understand that it's really just a copy machine. So
right.
it's
They
not
weren't
even-
designed for being used as employees, so to speak.
No, they weren't.
They were
no.
designed as technological tools at the end of the day.
Yeah, they were designed to just like take a lot of information and find patterns in that information.
Data processing, things
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, everything is eventually
Yeah.
is data. Like, the brain also is a data. The question is, what data are you processing and how? And the LLMs are able to process a lot of data, but it's a very flat.
Yeah.
It's just the words that we're using, but the words are a projection of our full mind. Our mind is much vaster than the words we're using.
Yeah.
But so when you look at the words, like, it lives in a Plato's cave of words. It sees what we're saying, which is great. It's a lot of information, but it's not enough to understand the subtleties and the small details behind it, which, of course, like a lot of tasks, you don't need those. Like, if you're just writing an email, maybe an email is a good example for what you do need. Yeah.
An email is probably a good place, right? Let's use our hands to do more smarter things, to write prompts, right, instead of writing emails. But why is an email a good example?
No, it's a great example, because actually, I was going for an example which AI can do, and I realized emails. So, like, an example, something like, what do I like? Write a typical example is like, write a summary, right? The summary is gonna be fine, because summary doesn't require so much like extra dimensions of understanding. But email, think about how many dimensions meet in that. You need to, not just the words, like, what is the subtext of the words you are choosing. And every word in an email, let's say it's a sensitive one, it's like it implies a world of things, and the AI just doesn't have access, because a lot of it is like social codes and implications.
Interesting.
Right.
So can we break down what kind of tasks AI can be really good for, and what is absolutely crucial that we do ourselves or our human employees do them?
Yeah.
What kind of qualities does AI not have?
So the leading question here is replicability. If it's replicable, the more creative it is, the more dangerous it becomes, because that's like, AI has what I call level 1 creativity, which is, it's not a bad thing. It's just a level 1, right? So level 1 creativity is, you have some building blocks, and you can combine them into a new shape. Like, you have a bunch of Lego pieces, right? And you can build a bird, and then you can build a car, and then you can ask the AI, okay, combine them in a new way. Maybe it will be able to build like an airplane, whatever, right? It's possible. You have the blocks, pretty much how they connect to each other. So it's mostly like a search algorithm. So it has this ability.
Yeah.
But level 2 and above creativity requires you to go beyond your Lego blocks and actually think about new types of Lego blocks, or like, maybe I can use the Lego blocks as as something else, like, not even to build Legos, just I don't know,
to build a sculpture or a wall.
Maybe to melt them into the plastic and
Right.
use the plastic as a something liquid.
Recycle.
So exactly. So thinking like breaking some fourth walls, and AI has not been trained on any of that. So, and that's why if you ask it to come up with new things, it will be new combinations of old ideas. You will never, I don't want to say never, but pretty much not gonna come up with like a new, genuinely like groundbreaking, genre definition.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it could if you give it a really, really good prompt, maybe, but then
But
that also requires
then,
creativity.
yeah, then
Then
it
it's
comes.
you came
Yeah,
up
yeah,
with it.
exactly. No, I
Yeah.
mean without prompts, just
Yeah.
like a one-liner that says like, come up with a new X. So it will not. It will not innovate
Yeah.
in the same way that
Yeah.
artists innovate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really interesting because I usually think, in my business, when a client calls me and they might need a simple answer, right? Like, how do I do X? Like, how do I write an email, or how do I turn on the computer, or whatever, right? It's like something super simple. Sometimes behind that request maybe even something else that you only uncover when you talk to the person. And that's on a human level, right? Like, people a lot of times have needs that they don't even voice until the actual moment of conversation. And then on a human intuitive level, you understand that they may need something else. And on a human subconscious intuitive level, you might actually provide it without even knowing that you provided that. That's what, for example, coaching or consulting or, psychology work is, counseling work is about, right? I feel. And that's why I personally feel anything that has to do with human interaction and interactivity, it's going to be very difficult to replace, right?
Yeah, but it is important to say that a lot of low-level jobs might be replaceable eventually, or mostly replaceable, because if you and I mean, I'm sorry if anyone is going to be, I don't know, offended or anything, but like if you're not doing something that requires this level of level 2 creativity,
Yeah.
then it is kind of easy to copy, and you're gonna have to find a way to do that eventually.
Yeah.
But the good news is that it's not that difficult. Like even voice acting is a great example. Like I met once a voice actor who was very worried that she's gonna be like lose her job and stuff. But I think like even a great AI is there is so much emotion behind our voice that the AI is not trained on.
She probably now has a lot of jobs training AIs.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So I personally feel that people should be worried about being replaced, but not by AI, rather by people who know how to use AI
Yeah,
really well.
that's a pretty good.
Yeah. So give me 3 things everyone should learn to be irreplaceable.
First of all, find out what you add, which is not easy or impossible to copy. So what is your unique aspect, unique experience, creativity, talent, something like that. Something that, so for example, well, you said 3 things, but it is a good example. So, like artists that say, oh, AI is stealing your work, my work.
Yeah.
If AI can steal your work, maybe you should come up with more creative art that is not possible to copy, because like Alexander Gray, right? Like, no, I'm not saying it. I'm saying it as actually a bad example. Like Alexander Gray, because a lot of like he's super creative, but his paintings become eventually very similar to each other. Now I'm sure I can train an AI to make another convincing and he can say, oh, you're stealing no, I'm not stealing your work. You repeat yourself. If you want me to not be able to steal your work, reinvent what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you can't reinvent what you're doing, then you're a one-trick pony, and then maybe you should find another thing to do or retire. I don't know, but I'm sorry if I'm being harsh, but like, it's a harsh world. Like if you don't have something that's genuinely hard to replicate, then you are in a bit the water level is
the Darwinism is
it's very Darwinist,
really growing in this field. Yeah.
So I mean, you said 3 things, but I think that's
AI, right? To paraphrase dog eat dog. Yeah. So what is the second and the third?
Second thing, I guess, like, but I know it's a really tall order for a lot of people, but just understand what is happening when we say
Stay
AI.
Stay on top of it.
No, actually, what I'm saying, but again, I know that maybe it's not realistic for a lot, but like understand the underlying structure.
Yeah.
What is this learning algorithm? It's not really that complicated. Like you don't need to be able to rehearse equations. That's not the point. The point is to understand what the AI algorithms actually do and what is machine learning.
Yeah.
Just so you get some intuition for what is possible and what is not possible. So it doesn't seem like magic, because most business owners that come to me that are not from a technological background, they just want something, like they come to the big wizard and they want, something, some magic. And I say, but it's not how it works. Like there are limitations. Even the wizard has to obey the laws of the universe.
The wizard is human after all.
Yeah. So if you have some basic understanding of what are the limitations and what are the what's actually happening there, then you get some idea of what makes things difficult or not difficult, and what is worth investing. And a big like a very big point when working with any business almost that is not a technical business owner is the fact that they know what they need, but they don't really have a sense of the difficulty gradient, like how much more budget is needed to make this level of progress. So it's not about finding just what we want to do. It's also about finding the optimal point between what we want to do and how much is how much it's gonna cost
and the investment.
Yeah, so we're trying to look for something that's relatively cheap, like not more than a few $1,000s. It doesn't matter even if you're a megacorp. I don't want to take a project for $100,000 because I don't know what's gonna be on the other side, right? That's already, I could open a company for that. So I don't want these big numbers. I want a few $1,000s budget.
Yeah.
And I want, what is the biggest change or biggest contribution or the biggest bottleneck that we can solve with this amount of money.
Oh, okay.
So think small money, big change, 20-80 rule type of thing, because, and that's the reason I'm talking in those terms, is because this technology is so much more powerful than anything else that's been before it. So until your business is fully AI supported or AI enabled, until that point, I don't know who you are, but you have to add more AI features. No, there is no company that doesn't need that. At every level, like even if it's an chat interface or no, I mean like interface, the user interface or the data analysis or the insight, whatever it is, needs more AI and basic AI features. Yep. And until that point, we don't need to start thinking about crazy.
Wow, that's an amazing point, because think about it. Before computers, you had secretaries typing on typewriters, right? Sitting in the front.
Yeah.
Now, very few businesses still have secretaries sitting at the front door, right? You have some technological tool because, let's face it, people can be doing better things with their time unless you have an explicit order to greet somebody face to face. That's why a lot of businesses that are service oriented will have a person sitting at the door. But, we came into the studio. There was a person greeting us virtually, digitally, right? Sitting somewhere at the end in another country, right? So at the same time, if you don't have AI tools taking care of some of the basic things in your business, is kind of like having a secretary with a typewriter sitting at your door and paying them to do this when there's nobody coming in, right? So that's actually a really, really interesting analogy. And I like another thing that you said about finding what it is that you uniquely bring to the table that is replicable, not hyper-replicable. And that brought me to another thought, that if you can use AI to create something that is uniquely yours, whether you are using AI to create a mega network that is only yours, that another person with AI is going to have difficulty doing, right? So if you can use AI to create something that takes your productivity, takes your uniqueness, and then create this crazy value proposition, I think you're set, right?
Yeah, but now you're talking about building like an AI tool that
building an AI tool or just a business? Build a
Oh, a
business
business. Yeah.
with
Build a
basic
business.
AI.
Yeah, exactly. Build a business, or if you already have a business, then you can transform your business
Yeah, augment.
into a more. And again, I'm not talking here about the vision of like the what people are trying to sell this AI in a based company that you only have AI workers. I'm not trying to do to. I think that it's not the right direction. The right direction is using AI tools at every possible level as independent sub modules that
Mm-hmm.
do a specific thing, and then like a calculator. And
Yeah.
then so like if you're in my case, I write code, right? So I write programs. So the AI, I don't type with my
Mm-hmm.
fingers most
Mm-hmm.
lines of code. The AI does that, but I wouldn't just tell the AI do this. Like the AI can't replace me because there is a lot more details that I need to take care of. So that's an example where I use AI,
Mm-hmm.
but the AI can't replace me as a developer, and also like so whatever you do, then there are subtasks that you can use AI to do the bulk, the like the more repetitive aspects of it, or the
Yeah.
more time consuming. But you still need to be managing it. So um
Yeah. I totally get what you're saying about outsourcing certain tasks to AI
yeah, it's a
and
horse. It's
keeping.
basically it's a
Yeah.
horse, right? It can do a lot of things
Uh huh.
that you can't do, but you need to sit on top of it and micromanage it,
Exactly.
right?
So now you have all these new positions, right? New roles that actually do that for you.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, you're also kind of decodifying AI and technical knowledge and breaking it down for businesses, right? Is that a part of your job?
Um, yeah, I mean, my job is to synthesize
Mm-hmm.
everything. So the business requirements, the client
Yeah.
needs, and the technical abilities and the budget, everything into what should happen. And
Mm.
then I guide the AI to write my code
Okay.
and I test it.
Very cool. Very cool. What is? Can you give me a story of some kind with some sort of a ridiculous request that you turned around and it made a business some money or knowledge or optimization?
Um,
Somebody come to you with something like, "Oh, I want a nice shiny thing over here," and you're like, "Why do we need that?"
yeah. Um, it's not exactly how it went down, but um, there was a company that asked for a chatbot for their app, which is able to communicate with users, and they asked for a chatbot that feels like a human. Yeah, and I said that making it really pass for a human is possible, but it's a pretty big project and the budget doesn't allow that. So what I can offer is an AI, a chatbot sounds that has a bit more personality.
Mm-hmm.
So we can hide the roboticness with adding a little bit of personality. So instead of making it completely sound like a human that
Mm-hmm.
people could guess that it's not a robot,
Mm-hmm.
we added personality by just like a little bit of typing
Mm-hmm.
errors,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of abbreviations, the not capitalize everything,
Mm-hmm.
missing like a bit of playing around with grammar. So using a few like
Mm-hmm.
stage tricks to make it sound less robotic,
Yeah. Okay. So that's.
which
I
is
think
much
that's.
easier than the full goal of
Yeah.
the
Of
original.
recreating the human. I think when I talk to somebody with text, like I don't even expect to have a human on the other side, right? And um, the level of humanness that's required to, I don't know, answer my customer service query. I am very, I wouldn't say skeptical. I'm very realistic about what that's involved. But when the only time when I really, really want a human, I think, in the whole process. A lot of times I actually would prefer to have a computer answer my query, and not a human, because they are more effective and more efficient. So, give me this amazing app that can give me access and give me answers and stuff like that. And ChatGPT, I never have this fantasy that I'm talking to a human when I'm talking to ChatGPT. And that's great, because a human doesn't have as much knowledge, doesn't have access to all the things and this advanced capabilities that I need. So I think people need to get their desires straight. There's also all these fears now about where AI is going to go, and it's going to start, hiring humans, displacing humans, in some cases maybe create a world that is hard to live in. So there's all these, utopia type ideas. I don't want to really get into them. But what I wanted to ask you about that is, in order to survive in the workplace where a lot of people are getting laid off, and we talked about the 3 things that everybody needs to do to make themselves indispensable as an employee or as a business owner, what kind of human qualities will stay distinctly human? What makes us human and distinct from AI?
Yeah, so like I said earlier, what makes us unique is our extra dimensions that are not expressed in the words we use directly. So we have a lot of experiences, sensory experiences, emotional, bodily sensations, all those things. AI doesn't have that. And that adds a lot of dimensions to our experience of the world. And we not only have these modalities, we also are able to synthesize them in unique ways, and that's creativity. Creativity is finding a new way to express or to conceptualize one of our experiences from any of these modalities. And a lot of people, obviously, they talk about non-physical, so spiritual modalities, and we're not going to go into that here because it's not a spiritual podcast. But whatever this is, there is something going on which we can't measure, that humans can experience, right? Like maybe, if you're a skeptic, you would say, oh, it's just electromagnetic fields, whatever. Okay, fine, I don't care. But there are things that are just not expressed in your words direct. Like you can't derive it. You can't derive the, butterflies in your stomach or the giddy, like the little thing in your spine when you're feeling excited. You can't quite derive it from words, which is the only thing that an LLM is trained on. So to really and this is still unique, and it's still not, right, it's still not captured by any AI, any art AI. It can imitate, it can imitate what we're doing, but it can't come up with a genuinely new way to express, express the feelings, exactly.
And what is art if not the expression of a feeling? Right?
Yeah.
But what is a feeling, really?
Well, right now I'm talking about completely physical sensations, or like I said, or spiritual, which if you're a skeptic, you will say it's another.
A feeling is, scientifically speaking, is an amalgamation of various sensations in the body. It could be physical, hormonal, right?
Exactly,
electromagnetic, like you
all
said.
Those things. It could be all sorts of things, and like I said, some of it,
neurotransmitters, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. All those things that we can measure, and there is also what we can't measure, but we can still feel.
Right.
So these things they can be expressed and combined.
Yeah. There is this data component, right? If you're looking at a regression analysis or something like that, and you always have kind of these things that are not measured, and they go into the standard deviation or like the error or whatever. And, ceteris paribus, so they taught us in economics, everything else held equal. And the human connection nothing is hold equal. You can't have the same experience with the same person. Oh, unless you're living in like that movie. What is it called? The Groundhog Day, right? Even in the Groundhog Day, you had different experience every single day, even if everything else
Wait,
was
but I
around.
think it depends,
Yeah.
right? Because like maybe I'm sure that if you are, there are some people like my barber.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my barbers can have great, personalities, but I don't know. Maybe like when I go to buy Coke Zero at the corner shop, maybe it's not that unique of an experience
Yeah.
every time. So there are repeatable
Repeatable.
experiences, but yeah, like if you sit down with someone and you talk about your day,
Yeah.
you both had different days, different years, right? So
Yeah.
even if it's the same person, you will probably find some new way to think about it
Yeah.
or to talk
Speaking
about
of a barber, there's a great joke that says, somebody invented an AI that shaves people, and it's like, wait, but everybody has a different face. Well, that's just the first time.
it. Yeah, but I mean,
That's it. Every single, then you shave off their face, and everybody's face becomes the same.
oh,
So yeah.
that's dark.
Yeah, very dark. So, and I think that's what's happening more or less, right, with art. And sometimes I feel like we're watching the same AI movie over and over and over again. That's how it feels. But I think that's all the dark side of AI. On the positive side, like we see a lot of really, I think, human creativity come out lately because people are free. Like creative people, I think, are really professional creative people are having the time of their lives right now, because all of a sudden you don't need a developer anymore. All of a sudden you don't necessarily need a designer to draw things.
Yeah.
You can if you can express, if you can give a really good prompt, and if you can have an idea in your
But hang
head.
on. AI art, I think, is useless right now
Yeah.
because it was great in the first year or two,
Yeah.
but now you can tell it's AI and it's
Yeah.
basically worthless
No,
because
for
it
art,
doesn't,
no.
right? So you do need a designer.
You need a designer, but if you need a simple logo with letters or
But
with a simple,
you could tell it's a crap logo if you
Okay.
use AI. I think so. I mean, quote me on that, but like, I don't know. I think
there
that.
is a process, I think, like to creating a logo that most people use is
Wait, hang on. Sorry, let me
Yeah.
clarify. Like, if I'm a designer
Yeah.
and I use AI, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you do need the designer, like
Yeah.
if someone who's not a designer at all,
Yeah.
it's going to look like.
So I think that the process, and I agree, I think that the process that people use all these nice tools like Luca for logos or like Lovable for websites, most people don't use UX, UI tools anymore. Because instead, you can just tell Lovable to create whatever you want it to create. And then you give that page to your team, to the actual designers, and say, okay, I want this, but with a little bow on top, right? I want this, but in this color. Like something that AI is not going to have this human touch, right? But it saves me so much time drawing. Like I used to literally draw elements, to tell the designer what to do.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we
Yeah.
were talking about
And the logo as well. Yeah.
This is exactly what we're talking about, the horses, right?
Yeah.
It's a tool. It saves you the repetitive tasks
Yeah.
that you don't want. It just saves massive amounts of time, but it doesn't have the decision making
It
ability
doesn't.
or the synthesizing
Yep.
information ability.
And especially the designer, when I can always design initial logos. I'm not a designer. I have a vision, and then my designer will take a look. Instead of me verbally explaining to them what I mean, I verbally explain to AI. It creates the initial kind of set of things. Then I can even discuss them with the client and say which one. Imagine this was done by a professional human with an amazing, finish. But what is the direction? So it saves me that much time, and it saves the designer time they can spend with their families as well, right? And I might be paying them a little less,
Yeah,
frankly.
yeah,
So,
exactly. People,
yeah.
everyone, or most people can do a lot more
Yeah.
in the same time, or
Yeah.
or the same thing with much less time.
Yeah. That's how I think I would advise people to use AI by cutting the initial like kind of prep stage, But then when you want this high quality end product, you use a human, right? But the human is getting a lot better direction from me now because I have all these tools
Yeah.
that I can explain what I want, right?
Yeah. You can make like a sketch.
Yeah.
And then you can show your designer, for
Right.
example. Yeah.
And at the same time, I think the stakes went up much higher for startups, for example, because it's no longer enough to just have a product. You can go to Base 44 and vibe code an app that does basic things and say, wow, we have an MVP. No, you do not have an MVP because it's minimum
Yeah.
viable. I would even say it's becoming minimum valuable product, right?
Valuable, yeah.
Is somebody using this? Is somebody
The
deriving
threshold
value?
of valuable has
Yeah.
risen massively because AI can do so much.
Yeah.
You don't need, like, if you want to build some basic app, you don't need a developer anymore.
Yeah.
So you need more than just that.
Yeah. And also the threshold of credibility for founders went up. Because if back in the day it was enough for you to say, I'm an engineer, now you have to prove it, and you have to have this impeccable track record in doing what you do to call yourself an engineer, what you've built, show me what you've done. And not just, if all you know is to build a couple of lines of code, then AI can do that as well, right? I think also the threshold of builder or developer has risen,
Mm-hmm.
to actually create value. Don't you think that AI just kind of is forcing us to become more valuable humans?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said earlier, you have to find your uniqueness, your creativity. What I said earlier, that you have to find what makes you unique, what makes you what contribution you can do that is not easy to replicate, and if you want to stay above the waterline.
Yeah, if you want to stay afloat, and also if you want to actually bring your talents to the table, learn what they are. I think it's all positive. I think we're going to come back. People that are terrified right now, that are...
Yeah, of course.
We're
Come
gonna,
on.
yeah.
Whoever complained about electricity? Come on. Especially definitely not the ones
the
who...
candle makers.
Yeah, I guess.
And then they came back and they created scented candles.
Yeah.
So now it's a huge industry.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's your unique value proposition. Reinvent the candle, reinvent the horse.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love it. So Yugen, what is your kind of underlying message to business owners who are coming to people like yourself with requests to help them make sense of AI and make their businesses better?
Find your fulcrum point, the lever that you use to the essence of what is unique about what you do
About your business?
as a person, but yes, as a business, as a business, or as a person inside a business. Like, what is, if you remove all the fluff, all the repetitive, replicable things, what is left that is genuinely your contribution?
Okay. Let's try to illustrate that for a second in the next couple of minutes of this podcast. Let's say that I am a consultant in the space of tokenization, blockchain tokenization, and I help businesses build financial models and financial products that then they can sell to investors. Let's say based on real estate or private equity. And so my business to a large extent is replicable. Let's say I come to you and I say I have this fintech platform and there are a lot of competitors out there. What are you going to ask me?
So before you even start thinking about competition and your business, just, sit down in a quiet room and think, what is your contribution to the projects that you participated in that you can't just explain in a prompt? That if you put it in a prompt, it will just not be it, Like, if I, for example, so you're going to your example, like you can say, you go to the AI and say, oh, here is my client, build a token for it. It will not be good. So then you say, okay, it's not good because, and then because I am not a, whatever this you said, I don't know what even to say.
Tokenization expert.
Exactly. I don't even know what to
Yeah.
say to the AI to fix whatever they did. So I don't, but you as the tokenization expert, you would say to the AI, no, it's not good because, blah, blah. And then whatever comes out of your hands at that point, that is
Yeah.
your unique contribution. And of course, it's not always easy to exactly define because maybe it's different every time. But if you think about the last, whatever, 10 projects, what was the cornerstone that you put on it that nobody else could, that made the difference? And then you take all those cornerstones of 10 projects and then you say, oh, it's the ability to whatever, right? Like define what is the financial definition of virtual as something like that. I don't know. I don't
That's
understand
perfect.
it. Right?
Actually,
Something like
yeah.
yeah, but it's too. It's whatever I said. It's too abstract, right? Like,
Yeah.
but you know, like it has to be as specific as you can. So I cannot actually. You know what? Let me talk about things that I do understand. So in my case, I can say that my value, the thing that I do that nobody else can, which is why I can't just replace myself with an AI agent, is knowing the scope of, and it's an intuition. I can't completely like define it, but looking at a project, knowing the scope of the work it would require, and knowing the inflection points, with which points of the projects are going to be challenges, which points are going to be easy to do, and where are the traps are likely to be, and as an extension, what possible solutions we have.
Right.
So all of that stuff,
Yeah.
that's what I can do. And if you ask the AI to do it, it will just
Yeah.
not be right.
Yeah, and also as a consultant, what I see with traps, they're usually human induced traps. Either the client is stalling because maybe psychologically they feel they're not ready to advance into the technological world, or they don't want to be selling and they just want to build. I've seen that so many times, and I don't know if AI has this knowledge of human psychology, like where humans are
Yeah.
struggling.
But it's important to say that it's very subtle. Like,
yeah.
usually it's very tricky because the AI is so good. Like, a lot of times it just generates and it's good and you can move on with your life. But a lot of times the problems or the mistakes it makes are very, very like subtle. And you need to actually point to a specific point
Yeah.
where the problem is and explain it. And why? Because you have experience, you have intuition, you synthesize
Yeah.
information, and it's not and it's like it's not something
Yeah.
that you just like copy from some
Yeah.
past project. It's a
Right.
new
And it also is sometimes so
scenario.
convincing. I'm looking at it and I'm seeing
Oh
it's
yeah,
not right,
definitely.
but it's so hard to pinpoint because the language is so good.
unless it's
Yeah.
your expertise, and then you can immediately tell that it's not right.
So it is the age of the experts. We're finally there. We
Yeah.
can now rejoice and celebrate.
I think it's always been the age of or maybe, yeah, I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's more that like the value of hard work is
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
The value of expert intuition or insight is more. Yeah.
I love it. So I think we'll end with this on this high note because, most people who listen to podcasts or watch podcasts are usually experts of some kind, or people who are polishing their expertise. So this is for you guys. It's your time to shine, to understand the unique value proposition, to sit in the dark room by yourself and not cry, but rather think about what you bring to the table that is not replicable with a prompt. I love that analogy. Is if you are able to do something creatively that is not possible to prompt your way through, that your client is not able to prompt, then not only you're safe, you can create a fantastic business by replicating certain things that you do at work with AI. right?
That can't be mass prompted.
That can't
That's
be
the
mass prompted.
that you can't just write a general prompt that does it for every case. That you need to go for each case, and you may need to make a special prompt for that. That's the actually
That's a
that's the
differentiation.
yeah.
You know what? Maybe we'll show some examples on the next one. I think that could be a really really cool exercise, right? Like
Yeah.
with a couple of people, maybe invite a couple of people in and
Yeah, actually that's a great idea.
yeah. Okay,
Let's
so
do
we're gonna do it next time.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Yugen.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Thanks.